everybody, and welcome to another episode of the HatsOff podcast. I'm Amanda Ray, your host, and I am going to chat with you all today about some ideas for reels. I was talking to a new business owner and a dear friend of mine, and she was like, man, I just don't know what to do. I don't know what reels to do. I don't know what content to do. I just don't know. And she doesn't know because that's not her world, right? She is a horse trainer. She loves horses. She loves that profession. She knows everything you can possibly know about horses and teaching people to ride and equitation and jumping and horse care and you name it. She's an expert in that field, but she is not an expert in social media. She's not on social media herself. She doesn't really love social media. She doesn't even think about social media. Like where many people who are experts in social media, they see something and they automatically take out their phone to record. And for her, she's like, just takes it in as a human being. Her first thought isn't, I should record this for social media. And so while we were chatting, and actually she's my daughter's horse trainer. So while she was training my daughter, I sat down and I said, well, this would make a really great podcast is let's talk about all the different types of reels that you can be doing on social media. So if you're kind of feeling stale with the content or the reels of videos that you're putting out, hopefully this podcast will give you some great ideas. So before we jump into different reel ideas, let's talk about how much time should you actually be spending creating reels and on Instagram or TikTok or wherever you are putting YouTube shorts, wherever you're putting these reels at. And I think that's such a loaded question, right? So my first answer is always like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? We know this. We've talked about this before. Go listen to Myrna's podcast on SEO if you haven't. You want to make sure that you are giving love to your website, that you are giving love to your leads process, right? Your client experience. So don't put all your eggs in one basket for sure. Make sure you're working those referral networks. Make sure you're working, you're just networking in general, as well as, like I said, your website. But the other thing you need to ask yourself is like, am I reaching my ideal client? Are my ideal clients even on the social media platform that you're using? Right? So if you are marketing only on Facebook, but your ideal client is on TikTok, that's not going to help you, right? So is your ideal client actually on the platform in which you are using? And then are you actually getting conversions, right, off of from the work that you're doing? So if you're finding that 90% of your conversions or your clients are coming off of that platform, then keep going on that platform and maybe add another one because you don't want that platform to dry up and then all of a sudden you don't have a business, right? But if you're getting a lot of clients from there, yeah, you're going to be spending a lot of time on there. But if you're not getting any clients from there, right, you need to, make sure that you're hitting a variety of different avenues and not just spending all of your time on one avenue that isn't giving you the return. So there's just some things to think about when you start thinking about, should I be even doing this on social media? The other thing that I would highly recommend that you do, especially for those 17 Hats users, we have a new functionality that came out last year. So it's kind of new. For lead sources. So if you haven't started using the lead source functionality in your 17 Hats account for your lead capture forms and online scheduling, you can. What that allows you to do is put in all of your different lead sources, such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, wherever you're putting this content at or putting this content on, and seeing when they actually submit your lead capture form, when they submit your online scheduling, however it is you're capturing leads, are they selecting one so that you know where they're actually hearing about you from? So two little thoughts right there before we jump into these different topics. So are you ready? So I have a pretty big list of ideas. So jot it down, write it down, take some notes, come back to this podcast. And then again, I would love to hear from you. So if you're on our Instagram, that's where we mainly are, DM 17 Hats, DM me. I would love to know kind of what are some fun stuff that you're doing that you might like to share with our listeners as well. So here goes our ideas. Idea number one, if you haven't done this in a while, I highly recommend it just to reintroduce yourself. Reintroduce yourself. I know this was like a trending audio, a while back ago, but I highly recommend you do it because so many people will find you from just like a funny reel or something that just touched them in a reel, but they actually don't know what you do. They don't know where you're at. They don't know what you stand for. They don't know who you serve or what you actually do. So take a moment every 3 to 4 months and reintroduce yourself. It can be a live, it can be a reel, it can be through you speaking, it can be through text, it can be through a variety of different pictures, like one picture every second that kind of shows your journey. There's lots of different ways to do this. You can just go search Instagram and see what people are doing for this, but let your new followers know who you are, where you are, who you serve, and what you actually provide, right? So that's number one. Again, I think you should be doing this every 3 to 4 to 5 months. Okay. And they can be different. You can hit different things. The next idea is some sort of progression. People like to follow a story. They like to see how the results ends up. And a lot of time we put like everything into one reel, right? From the beginning to the end all in one. But why? Right? Why are we like giving them all of it at once? Let's break that up. So every day do a story or a reel on just a different step of that progression, right? So if it's a multiple day thing, even if it's a 1 day thing, you can post throughout the day instead of doing one complete reel. Let's go ahead and break that up. So if you're building something, if you're organizing something, if you're growing something, these are all great ways to really show progression. You can even, I know so many people that are building the products, right? From if you're a photographer doing the editing, how an image started versus how it ended. We have people who are hairstylists, right? That maybe they have somebody that comes in with really damaged hair and that they're going to be working with them over the next several months. That is a journey you want to follow. We have people who are, they're event planners and how the idea starts versus how the idea finishes. That's progression. And to be able to show that, what I love about this is that you take your viewers, your audience on the journey with you, which then they seem invested in you. And when they're invested in you, they're going to keep coming back to your social media account. So showing that progression is really cool. Client testimonial is something that I don't think we all do enough of, right? I think when people hear the words client testimonial, they think of like the Google, testimonials where it's these long, lengthy things and you have to interview them and it becomes a thing. And sure, that has a place, but I also think it can be as simple as like, how did that make you feel? And they say, this was amazing. This was so great, right? It's as quick as like 1, 2, 3 seconds of a testimonial of, I had so much fun. This was so amazing. This was an experience of my life. I could not have done this without you. So we don't have to have these really long produced testimonials, which in the world of reels right now, nobody would ever watch because they're too long. But having a really quick 2, 3, 4 second just sentence with their facial expression and excitement, that sometimes says it all, right? That says it all. Or you can even create original audio. There's all sorts of ways that you can do that. So that's really fun to do. Reels. You can also do a trending audio behind their audio as well, just turning that audio down so it's a little bit of background music. That's always fun. So client testimonials, just try to find a new take on those and don't think it has to be like super produced. It can be like nice and simple. Next one, which a lot of people do, behind the scenes. But can you take it a little bit further? A lot of times you see people do behind the scenes with their clients, right? Like you'll see the finished product with clients, but you don't see the behind the scenes part with clients. But how about the behind the scenes stuff of your business, right? So many people don't understand what it takes to be in business, the organizing, the getting things together, the networking, all of that. So it's really the behind the scenes as you as a business professional, as well as, continuing to do the behind the scenes of your clients, right? Getting them ready, doing whatever you do with your leads and your clients. So giving people a snippet of behind the curtain also creates authenticity, which, that's a buzzword today, and creates trust, right? People need to know that you aren't just this professional that shows up and puts on the facade of professionalism when they hire you, that you're a professional consistently, right? Day in and day out, you're showing up, doing your job in a consistent way. And that is just going to allow them to trust you even more. So, behind the scenes, get your tripod and just video yourself. Put a tripod up in your office and let it go, right? Let the camera roll. And then you can take that and put it in a CapCut or whatever you're using for video editing, or maybe you're just using your phone, which is fine. So, whatever you're using for video editing, and just slice it up into little, 2-second, 3-second, 10-second reels. So, that's always fun. All right, so here's another one, reveals. I know this one's done a lot. A lot of you think about it, but revealing the final look, revealing the final feel, even the product. Maybe you went shopping for something specific for your industry, and so now you're revealing this product that you bought and why it is the product of your choice. So the reveals don't necessarily need to be this like big day-to-day thing of like this awesome thing you did for the client, but showing a little bit of you, showing a little bit of your day to day as well, I think is so important, because again, you are your brand. You are the number one representation. You are the walking billboard for your brand all the time. So people need to see your face and they need to recognize your face. So reveals of products, transformations, things you've bought, things you're doing, always a fun thing to do. All right, here's a fun one that I like a lot, which we're actually going to try at the horse stable. It's your own take on Get Ready With Me. So, the Get Ready With Me is where they're putting on the makeup and all of that jazz, which, oh my gosh, I don't like doing reels in the first place, but like that one, that's a lot. I could never do that. And plus I would never say that I am great at putting on makeup. But can you adjust that to your own point of view? Can you have your own take on Get Ready With Me? Whether you're getting ready for a session, right, and making it short, and or getting ready for a consultation and prepping your office. Maybe it's getting ready with me where you're getting dressed, maybe not just makeup. Maybe it's getting ready with me to where you're prepping your studio or your computer or whatever it is, right? It doesn't have to be your face, which is the trend right now. So, what is your own take on the Get Ready With Me trend that's happening? That's a fun one. Inspiration. People love inspiration. We live in a society that loves to take in inspiration and loves to give inspiration. And just in a world right now where people just need to be inspired to keep going and do more and just be okay with who they are. And gosh, you name it. There's so many different ways to inspire. You never know who's going to be scrolling through social media and is having a bad day, and they could see something inspirational that just makes them go, oh, it's not that bad today. It's okay. Today is okay. So by having a static image with music, even having like some sort of landscape or something that's just super mundane, with some words on top of it or your voice on top of it, those words of inspiration, maybe it's just like a hello, have a great day. Like, what easy reel is that? Every single one of us can just be like, I hope every single one of you are having a great day today. Such an easy reel, such a doable reel, but we don't do it. So take the time to inspire, right? Take the time, if you have your cup of coffee, say, cheers to a great day, right? Such a great way, such an easy reel, doesn't take a lot of thought. Befores and afters, right? That's a little bit of the progression is one way, but then you can even shorten that down to here's the before, here's the after. Right. So that's a lot of fun, which is why it's so important to document and record everything. And I hate that because I'm not that person. I mean, you can go to my Instagram feed and you will see that there is not a lot of reels on my Instagram feed because it does take a lot of time and my brain just doesn't have the time to do it. But if you are putting your marketing in reels, or in Instagram, in social media, you have to make the time, right? So recording all sorts of different things from your walking shadow to landscapes to you name it, whatever it is going to help you have the content ready when you're ready to make something. So reveals, befores, and afters, it's always good to take those videos. You may use them and you may not use them, right? But to have the video at least gives you the choice. Tips and tricks. You are knowledgeable in some way, shape, or form. You have knowledge that you can share. And there are people out there that want to listen to you. And sure, there's probably lots of other people sharing the same knowledge, and that's okay because the world of social media is huge, right? The world of social media is huge. So you need to share those tips and tricks, whether you are doing like a really faded out video in the background or a really far away video in the background with words on top, whether you're doing a live, whether you're up and dancing in front of the camera, which I'm totally not that person. So I get it if you're not either. But, keep it simple. 2 tips, 3 tips. Here's one trick, right? Keep it really simple. Don't try to go overboard with here's 15 tricks or here's 15 tips, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 1, right? You can always break it up and do lots of different ones if you want to. Okay. But tips and tricks are great because you're giving them usable content, you're teaching them something. And people love, at this point, people are learning so much through social media. People love to learn through social media. So you're also, gravitating onto that trend as well. Rituals. Do you have any rituals that you do that you can share? Right? So this is a hard one because that does take a little bit more insight into you. And that does take you sharing more of yourself on a platform. But is there any rituals that you do? Is your ritual in the morning to drink coffee while reading the newspaper, which I doubt? I don't know. Does anybody even read newspapers anymore? I don't know. But is that your ritual? If so, can you share it? Right? Is there something that you do on a daily basis? And why do you do it? That's the next question. Why do you do it? Do you walk do you walk every night to relax? Right? Do you garden on weekends to help clear your brain? So what is it that you do and why do you do it, and sharing that with the world? So rituals are another one. Advice. So advice is a little bit different from tips and tricks. So advice is you get questions and you answer them. So this could be questions that you get from your clients, to where you come on and say, hey, I had a client ask me this question and I want to come on and answer it for all of you, right? To where you ask your audience for questions and they give you questions and then you answer. But basically this, with advice, you're fielding questions from somewhere. And so you're giving answers. Again, it feeds into people's need or desire to learn. It's engagement, right? You're not just like hitting people with content nonstop. You're engaging with them. It is a conversation. And I think that's another thing you have to think about all of this with social media, is that this is a conversation that you're having with your audience. If you're just hitting them with stuff over and over and over and over again, it's not conversational. So people don't want to be yelled at. They don't want to be screamed at. They don't want to be talked to, right? They want to engage. And so with your reels, you have to take that into consideration as well. So advice is a great way to increase engagement. Share knowledge. Okay, so you have tips and tricks, you have advice, but just random knowledge share, right? When you see something in your day and you're doing it a specific way, but there's a reason you're doing it that specific way, maybe you want to share that, right? Maybe there's something in your life that you do for a specific reason. You're just like, hey, I just want to share this with you. I do it. This is why I do it. This is the reasonings why I do it. This is why I like it. I want to share it with you all so that maybe, I don't know, some of you can do it too, right? So by sharing knowledge, you can look at like big picture, like way out. What is the big overview stuff that you're doing versus the super micro stuff, the stuff that you think doesn't have a big impact on your day, but the reality, it kind of does. It does impact your day, and you are glad that you do it that way. So you got to think macro and micro. And then, of course, facts are always good. People love facts. And not just assumptions or emotions or feelings, but just here are some facts about my business. Here's some facts about my life. Here's some facts about maybe the industry that you're in. People love, love, love facts. So facts are always fun. Bloopers. Bloopers. If you are constantly recording yourself, which I know is a chore in itself, bloopers are fun. People love bloopers because it makes you human. When everything is so perfect on social media, and everybody knows it's not perfect, right? By showing bloopers, it humanizes you. It makes other people go, wow, I can do this too. There's a little bit of inspiration in bloopers. It's funny, right? So people engage with you. So don't be ashamed or nervous or like, oh, I look so silly in that, or I don't look good, or my makeup wasn't good, or I just look like a dork. Don't worry about any of that, right? Because with bloopers, you engage with people on a different level, right? And there is that, again, sense of authenticity. There is that sense of just being real that many social media accounts don't have. And at the end of the day, people want to work with real people, right? They want to know that you're human. They want to know that you have emotions. They want to know that you have empathy. They want to, they want to see your personality. They don't just want to see a gray building. They want to see your personality, and bloopers are a great way to show your personality. All right, the last one I have for you, which I think is super fun and a lot of people don't do, but is a time lapse. A time lapse, setting up your tripod, getting a cool angle, and just time lapsing maybe a whole experience. Whatever that you're doing that might be interesting. Time lapses are really cool. They're fun to watch. They're fun to do. Yeah, they take a little bit of extra work. There's great settings on your camera now for it. And it's just really, really fun to do. So I highly recommend, how can you time lapse? And it can be like the silliest things that you can time lapse too. So it doesn't have to be this perfection. And I think that's where people go wrong a lot with reels, is that they think that everything has to be perfection. And it doesn't. It doesn't have to be perfection. Just do it, make it easy. I always tell people, when you start doing reels, I even have to tell myself this, or remind myself, when you start doing reels, it's not like the first time you put a reel out there, you're going to have 1 million views, right? You'll put a reel out there, you'll get 100 views. And the end of the day, 100 views is like a pin drop in the amount of people in this world that are on Instagram, right? It is nothing, right? Not to sound discouraging, sound discouraging. But my point is that when you first start doing reels and when you start putting them out there, it is going to be few, right? And then as you show up consistently and do more and test different things, you might have a time lapse that does really well, but you might have a client testimonial that doesn't. Right. So as you continue to test everything and kind of figure out what is working for you, the times of posting that's working for you, the topics of the hashtags, all of that stuff, that when you find what's working for you, it's going to slowly start growing. But you have to show up consistently and you have to play. And I know this is hard. It is hard for many of you in business because it's not your wheelhouse. It is not the thing you want to do. It's not the way you want to spend your time, which is why it's even more important, if this is a area that you are wanting to go after in your marketing plan, which is why it's even more important to constantly be recording stuff all the time. Because the more you record, the more content that you have, it's going to be easier to create reels. You can't create reels when you have like no videos, no photos, no anything, right? The more you have, the more reels you can create. So I hope that gives you some ideas for some fresh reels, some fresh content. Even if you took these, maybe you're not a reels person and you're like, oh, I don't make reels. This was not helpful. Take these same things and put them in a blog post. How can you do this in a blog post? If you're a writer and you do more blogs, right? You can turn all of this stuff into a blog post as well. All right, everybody. I hope that helps. I hope you have some great inspiration. I would love to see some of the reels that you're creating. So tag us, tag myself on Instagram. You can tag 17 Hats on Instagram. I would love to see what you're doing. And I hope you do some really, really fun stuff. So here's to another episode of the Hats Off podcast. I appreciate you all, and I'll see you next week.